Hello. Today we are going to talk about how we can make our communities stronger to prepare against climate disasters. So, for this training's agenda, we're going to reflect a little bit about the context of our community. We're going to talk about the value of recruiting our communities for disaster prevention. We're going to do an exercise and then we will close. So, as you're watching this, take a couple of minutes to take notes and reflect a little bit on these questions like what types of disasters are prevalent in your particular area? Do you know if your city or your region has a disaster preparedness plan? And are there any mutual aid connections that can be supported in your community during or after disasters? Feel free to take a pause and take a few minutes to reflect on these valuable, important questions. So let's begin. Why organize our communities as we face climate disasters? Well, the key is that a strong community is the thing that will help the community members most to be safe against climate disasters. And we can create strong communities against things like earthquakes. Also, doesn't need to be climate disasters only, but think of it about the context of hurricanes, heat waves, and other things. However, anything can be applied to other types of disasters, and communities can be strong by studying existing needs of the in the community, like who needs help, who are the elderly, who are the children, who can't clear out debris in their home, who needs water, who needs medication. All these existing needs can be studied to help your community be safer, stronger. um, you can also reflect on past disasters together and think what went well in the disaster response and what needs to improve. And you can discuss these items with your neighbors and get together, get to know each other, and prepare with each other to be ready when disasters happen. And here is a case example of Puerto Rico. Just an example, after Hurricane Maria in 2017, this is for context. Maria was the first category 4 and 5 hurricane to hit Puerto Rico since 1928. The country was not prepared at all. There were over 4,500 lives lost, billions of dollars in damages, and many problems arise because the government did not act with the urgency needed, and that resulted in many things. So communities were the key and the main source of recovery in many places against issues like lack of food and no communication because all the lines, all the internet, all the phone, everything went down. Um, there was no power island wide, so there was people, millions of people dealing with heat, with mosquitoes, with stomach illnesses because food went bad, with medicines gone bad, especially issues where people that need to keep their medicines full, like medicines for diabetes. um Also, elderly especially had falls at night, having to try to walk around in the dark. Houses caught fire because of the use of candles. There was no transportation, there was a lot of closed roads, no water, and many diseases also arise from the bad management of this disaster. So, what the communities achieved together in response, they got together and they worked on reforestation, community gardens. There was a group of radio operators that whose hobby is to like communicate over radio, and they set up a network to keep communications alive between different towns and different parts of Puerto Rico. Also, after the hurricane, community organizations rescued abandoned schools and other abandoned buildings to create community centers with like solar panels and rainwater catchment, and created community pantries, kitchen, and gave workshops and health assistance at these places. And organizations now, since the hurricane, continue to work to prepare in advance of hurricane season with having things like water filters and solar lamps. And beyond there, some groups have created a census of affected homes and the needs in their area. And also, groups have led educational efforts about what to do before and after a storm to stay safe. So, the first step to making our community safer against climate disasters is recruiting and organizing with our neighbors to make all these things possible. And some general steps for recruitment that we can start doing in the community to get people together are setting an initial contact, like putting up flyers and announcements on social media, and talking face to face, like when we set up a table at a community fair or at a store or something where people can go and talk to us. We can go door to door to talk to people, or we can just have casual conversations in the street, inviting people to join our initiative. It's also important to capture their contact information so you can continue inviting them to future opportunities. And it's recommended that you quickly add that information, ideally in an electronic database somewhere online. So, in case you have that on paper and you lose the physical paper, you don't lose their information. And always make sure to follow up. Everyone is busy, people have different work schedules, different needs. So if someone didn't go to the first event, to the first meeting, make sure to keep inviting them and offer them more spaces to engage. After you recruit people, after people start to participate in your new community initiative, make sure that you help people develop and grow as leaders within the community. So make sure that you can plan your strategy, your timeline, your work along with your neighbors so that everyone can have a voice in the process. Make sure to create activities and spaces to listen to their ideas. Leave also some space for ideas that can help people grow and have fun. Even if the activities they want to work on are not related exclusively to disaster planning, they are probably related to something that will help the community spend time together and get to know each other and have fun with each other. So leave space for ideas that can help people grow and just spend a nice time together. You can also create committees within the community to decentralize work, and you can give trainings to each other. We are all experts on different topics. There's a neighbor that might know how to preserve food, and there's another that might be good with building and can teach people to build a rainwater catchment system. And there's someone else that loves kids and can take care of the community's kids while other people are working on other events or building something. So everyone has different talents and can support each other, can train each other, and can have different roles in the community as you create your own disaster preparedness actions and plans and activities. And one thing that is very important is to keep people engaged. Make sure you set up good communication structures, like set up regular meetings, like that we meet once a month, for example, on the last Friday of the month or something like that. Make sure there's regular meetings, a regular space where people can know that they can go to. You can set up some things like a WhatsApp group, a Signal group, whatever you prefer. Um, you can send notes to the community after the meeting so people can be aware of what was discussed. And you can also post a bulletin in your community notifying of the things discussed and the things done. Also, another way that keeps people engaged is when people are able to participate in a meaningful way, when they know exactly what their role is, when they can participate in decision making, and when they understand the relationship of their role to the main mission. Like, for example, if you ask a community member to hand around 200 flyers, then that sounds like a tough job to stand outside handing out 200 flyers. That's a lot. And people might not be too motivated to do so. But if they know that their flyers they are handing out are to host our first community picnic where we will sit down and plan a recovery plan for so that in the next hurricane we can have solar energy and water, then they know what is the meaning behind handing this 200 flyers so that they have an understanding of the relationship of their role to the main mission and how their presence and their time is extremely valuable to the work being done. And another way to keep people engaged is to have fun. This is very important because in multiple case studies of organized communities, it has been proven that the most successful projects tend to occur after the community has bonded and built trust with each other by having fun activities. So don't feel like you need to dive in directly into disaster prevention planning from day one. As you start recruiting people, you can start recruiting members to organize fun activities first that will help people feel closer to each other, build relationships, talk to each other, and put a face to everything that is happening around them. So you can host things like community parties, some cookouts, a picnic, a fair, a street party, anything that also is relevant and related to how your community likes to have fun and get together to know each other. Disaster planning is extremely important, but we are working with people and we are creating a stronger community after all. And we can't have a strong community where community members don't know each other, don't trust each other. And that happens when we have fun with each other. So make sure you have fun as you get together and start to share skills and train and support each other so that you can make your community safer against climate disasters. So, um, for this space, I suggest that you can pause this training and take a minute, a few minutes, 10 minutes to break out into smaller groups and check in with each other. Get to know what climate disaster work can look like at your local community. So think, what are the current needs and challenges? What have you seen in past disasters that were that needs have arisen? What challenges have arisen? And what is one idea that you have where neighbors in your community can join together to overcome these challenges? What plan would you like to see? Would you like to see your community have a community center with solar energy? Would you like to have a rainwater catchment system? Would you like to have some kind of system to exchange fruits and vegetables from each other gardens? Would you like to create a census of the elderly in your community that need the most support? So, what is one idea you have where people can join together to overcome these challenges? Let's take a pause of this video and discuss this for some minutes. As we have talked about creating stronger communities against climate disaster and the value that this has, and some initial steps that we can start to take to recruit people and get people together to build these ideas. Here is a closing reflection for you to take notes and to bring back to those in your network. What is one thing you will do after leaving this training space to help prepare your community against climate disasters? What is one thing that you plan to do today? That may be something that you plan to do this week or during the month. Is it that you want to research? Is it that you want to talk to your neighbor? Is it that you want to ask a neighbor that knows about renewable energy if they can offer you some knowledge, or if it is it um, asking that neighbor that has a farm if they're interested in creating some training for people to grow their own food? Is it planning a party for the holidays later on? What is one thing you will do to begin preparing your community and helping your community be safer against climate disasters? And with this, I want to thank you for being in this space, for your interest, and for being a key part to making your community stronger against climate disasters.